Appamada and its programs are supported by your generosity, and your generosity and support makes such a difference. You can find a link for contributions on the website at appamada.org. Thank you.
So, welcome everyone. It's really nice to see you on this day. Yeah. I'd like to welcome everyone who may be listening from the Sanghas in Madison, England, Switzerland, Alpine, Chicago, and Hawaii, and all the other folks that tune in from other places, wherever they may be. So welcome to all of you. I was thinking it might be tricky, maybe too many people, I don't know, 24. To do names, we're an awful lot of names, but there are a few people that I don't recognize, so maybe it would be nice to just say your name and then where you're tuning in from. So I'm Laurie, I'm here in Austin, of course. And I guess you just have to shout it out because everybody's screen is different, so there's no order here. Anybody?
Rosemary, New Jersey.
Thank you. You'll have to unmute. Oh, you can't. You'd have to unmute them.
Okay. Hold on.
Ellen Austin.
Thank you, Ellen.
Darcy,
I'm Becky in British Columbia.
I'm Muren in snowy Austin, Texas.
Bonnie in Austin, Texas.
I'm Kim in Austin.
Lisa in Austin.
Julia in Austin.
And Pete. Paul, I'm in Austin. Paul.
I'm Nancy in Dallas.
I'm Mary, I'm in Austin.
I'm Maria in snowy Cumbria in the UK.
Great.
I'm Joan in Austin, and Elizabeth says she can't unmute, and maybe Colin can't either. He just said hello to everyone.
Yeah, he says hello from. And Heather too, she can't unmute.
I'm Nelda in Austin.
Joan and Bill in Austin.
Okay, several people. Elizabeth can't get on or can't unmute. Yeah. You're in Austin, right, Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Oh, and Ann can't unmute either. Okay, Ann's in Austin. Good to see you. Okay. All right. Okay, well, we'll begin. So I wanted to start with, as I mentioned at the beginning, today is January 10th. And okay, so what I was saying was that January 10th, today is January 10th, and it's a special day for me that I wanted to share with you all. Today is my father's birthday, and my father passed away in 2004, but it's always lovely to think of him on his day. Makes me happy. And, you know, I love my dad dearly. He was a very sweet man. And in his elder years or his later years, he developed some dementia. And so he had trouble reading. And so I used to bring him books, and then I'd ask him, hold on, Claudine's coming in. There we go. I would ask him, if you're having, why don't we read it together? And so I had a book, I happened to be reading Thich Nhat Hanh's Pieces Every Step. And so we were reading it together. And in particular, we read the section on washing dishes, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with. And washing the dishes is precisely Thich Nhat Hanh talking about mindfulness. And that in anything we do, we can be mindful, and even in washing the dishes. And so it changes the activity. So when you wash the dishes, you feel the warm water, and what a lovely, lovely thing is to feel warm water, right? Particularly on a day like today. And then to look at the suds, the bubbles, and you can see if the light hits it, you can see the rainbows, the reflection of many colors in them. So it's really kind of a delightful little thing that he wrote about being present to what you're doing. So we read that together, and so I asked my dad. Now my dad was a Christian, and he was an engineer and a very practical man. So I asked him, so what did you think about that? And he thought for a minute, and he said, well, that sounds right. And he said it made sense to him. And he said that when I do that when I mow the lawn, for example. And when I mow the lawn, I just pay attention to the mowing lawn, which I couldn't imagine, but he was very firm about that. No, I just pay attention to what I'm doing. And it just made me laugh and appreciate him. One, because he, is not a Buddhist and didn't have any particular interest in Buddhism, but he was willing to read this thing. And then not only that, but to take enough time to understand what it's talking about and then relate it to his own life. So I think about that a lot when I think about him and just how delightful he was like that, to just join somebody and, listen to what they were talking about or whatever, and joining them in it and understanding and connecting with it. So I'm thinking about him today and appreciating him and his life and his being in my life and being responsible for my life. So I would like to talk, I'm continuing on with another section from the book, Not Always So, Suzuki Roshi. It's Practicing the True Spirit of Zen. And I really like his way of teaching. It's very simple, but it's very deep at the same time. So the one that I chose today is called True Connection. And I just want to spend a little time on some of the things that he says, because I find it very, very interesting. So he starts out saying that true connection is not, I don't mean true connection, true concentration. True concentration. True concentration is not just concentrating on one thing. And he explains that by giving a couple of examples. He says, if you're in the Zendo, for example, and there's a group of people, that you can focus on, particularly if, being a teacher at the front or something, if you're, watching what people are doing, or, watch a certain person. But if you watch a certain person, then you really can't see what's going on in the whole Zendo. But if you don't focus on anything at all, in fact, you can see everything, either see or sense what's going on. You can detect if somebody's moving or somebody's not moving. So it's very interesting, you know, that when you don't concentrate on something in particular, you actually are aware of more. So he also talks about, as another example, Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion, who has females depicted as a female and also as a male. Usually the female is Kuan Yin. But at any rate, that's depicted with a lot of times in iconography or in statues and things that they have 1,000 arms. And the 1,000 arms, of course, are to aid everybody. They're hearing the cries of the world and, you know, offering arms, offering help to everyone. And so Suzuki Roshi says, well, would Avalokiteshvara decide to just use one hand at a time? Well, there'd be 999 arms that are being used. So he's, you know, saying in the same way that we open up and don't be specific on one thing. And then you're available in a lot of different ways. It's a much broader perspective. So at the main point of Zazen, of our practice, since ancient times, has been having a calm, clear mind in whatever you're doing, a calm, clear mind. So again, he gives some examples. He gives the example of when we're eating food that's, you know, tasty food. So we have the experience of tasting the food, but if we really are paying attention, if we have a mind that's calm enough, we can appreciate as well the labor that went into the preparation of the food. And we hear that a lot, right? Whenever we do a meal chant, 72 labors have gone into making of this food. And he goes further, not just the labor in the food, in the preparation of the food, but also the labor in the utensils and the bowls, the plates or the cups, and chopsticks and whatnot. The labor that was put into that, all the people that did that. So in looking at eating, it becomes something much more, much wider, much deeper. There's a whole thing, it reminds me again of Thich Nhat Hanh and his idea of interbeing. All this is related to just having a meal. There's a lot more in it than we see with the normal eye. He also talks about in knowing someone, that everyone has, if you know someone, it's to sense their flavor. He uses the word flavor, their personality, from which their feelings appear. And so to fully appreciate the flavor or personality of the person is to have a good relationship, he says. It means not clinging, not trying to please, but fully appreciating them. That's very interesting. There's no, he's removed all the objectification or all our purposes for appreciating people, but just appreciating them as they are, period. All the different aspects of them. It's with that same mind of seeing a deeper experience, a deeper reality. So again, to appreciate people and things, we need a calm and clear mind. And so we practice Zazen. We practice Zazen with no gaining idea. And when we are practicing in this way, we are ourselves. Nothing added. We are ourselves. And with this practice, we have freedom. So to attain this freedom and this way of being is to sit upright and let our eyes and ears be open to everything. And that openness is important, very important in this, or else we'll get stuck. Our mind will get stuck on some complicated thing that it's trying to do, or some trouble, specific trouble it gets caught up in. And how many times has that happens to us when we're sitting in meditation, that we're drawn off by some particular thing. So I really love this whole idea that he's bringing up. And in fact, I was worrying about a lot of stuff, and I started reading this thing, and I really got much calmer. It's remarkable. He says we can't force ourselves physically to sit or create a special state of mind. You know, they say mirror mind is what we want to have, reflecting everything but holding on to nothing. But we can't have mirror mind if in fact we're trying to attain it. But we can practice concentration or let our mind follow the breath, so we're not involved in these side issues, some complicated practice, or to avoid our losing ourselves, attempting to accomplish something. He calls these attempts at trying to control our mind, or trying, sometimes people will say, oh, I know this person has a really strong practice, and they're very upright, and they do this, and so you say, well, I want to be like that person. So you try to be like they are in Zazen. And this is, again, what Suzuki says is the art of Zen, not the practice of Zen. So our practice and our sitting is not about doing something perfectly. Thank God, that's what I say. But it's just a matter of doing it the best that we can, doing it as we do. So no matter what you think about Zazen, whether you think that you can do it or not, if you know what it truly is, you can do it. It's being you. With a calm and clear mind. So in Zen, we always hear to follow the schedule. It's important to follow the schedule and do things with people. Typically or especially in intensives, right? We're asked to follow the schedule just as it is, and to do one thing after another, and participate with other people and things. So we practice with people. But according to Suzuki Roshi, our goal is to practice with, and I love this, mountains and rivers, trees and stones. We practice with everything in the world, everything in the universe. And when we practice in this big way, we'll know the way. We'll intuitively know which way to go. And to practice this way is good. But he says, one may be practicing with a mistaken idea. I love this part. If I know I am making a mistake, but I can't help continuing my practice, he says, there's no problem. There's no problem, because we know what we're doing. we're paying attention. If you open your true eyes and accept the you that is involved in the wrong idea of practice, that is real practice. Isn't that interesting? I love that. I think it's so often with so many of us, we're so worried about doing things right. And it's just really reassuring. Open your eyes and accept the you that is involved in a wrong idea of practice, and that's real practice. I think that's really relieving. He says, accept your thinking because it is already there. No need to get rid of it. Right and wrong don't matter. Dualistic thinking. Right and wrong don't matter. Rather, it is a question of how to sincerely accept with openness of mind what you are doing, regardless of what you're doing. This is the most important point. Accepting the you who is thinking something without trying to be free of the images you have. You say, oh, here they come, or that person is moving. Our eyes remain the same when he stops moving. When we're sitting and our eyes are not focused on anyone, we sense he's moving. We sense that he stopped moving. That is how the eyes see when they are not watching anything special. So in this way, our practice includes everything, one thing after another. And you do not lose your calmness of mind. So the extent of practice is limitless. We've said we're practicing with everything. And with this base, with this foundation, this is real freedom. When you evaluate yourself as good or bad, right or wrong, that is comparative value. And so you lose your absolute value. Everything has its absolute value. And how wonderful is that? So we take that away from ourselves and from other people, other things, when we start comparing. When you evaluate yourself with a limitless measure, you will be settled on your real self. That is enough. That is enough. If you understand that point, you will know what real practice is for human beings and for everything. So that is the end of my talk. If there has any questions, I have an activity for us to do, but if there are any questions before we start that, or any comments, feel free to. Yeah, Darcy. Oh, can you unmute, folks, please? Maybe I have to do that.
I think we can now.
I was just wanting you to share that resource, the book you were using again. I didn't quite catch it. Can't, you're muted now.
Okay, not always so. Suzuki, Roshi, and it's not always so. And then the second part is practicing the true spirit of Zen. This is an older book. That's a good one.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And I saw Becky. Did you have a question or a comment?
That was the exact question I had. I wanted to write it down.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can you say the name of the book again, and I'll put it in the chat, Laurie?
Yeah, not always so. You probably don't need the second part, practicing the true spirit of Zen. It's probably not critical, but it's Shunryu, it's Suzuki Roshi. So Shunryu Suzuki. It's his second.
Laurie, this is Miren.
There you are.
I wonder if you can repeat how you started it about the goddess or god with many arms, and then the one arm analogy.
Yeah, he was talking about the about what true concentration is, and so if the goddess, if you will, not goddess, it's a bodhisattva, but
okay.
Anyway, Avalokiteshvara or Kuan Yin is depicted with 1,000 arms because she's the bodhisattva of compassion, and she's hearing the cries of the world and is there to offer help with her 1,000 arms. And if she were just to focus on one arm, that these other arms would be used. I mean, they wouldn't be being used. So she's overemphasizing one and missing the the vast majority of what's there. Does that make sense?
Yes, and that was in what book or in what?
It's in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in the chat. It's not.
It's in the same Suzuki Roshi book, or is it in the thing that? Okay.
No, it's in the Suzuki Roshi book.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see, we have 26 and we have 30 minutes probably, less than that. So let's see, we've got plenty of time, I think. So we could probably do it in pairs. Let's do, have you done breakout rooms before?
I'm gonna try. I have,
Okay.
but so you want 13 rooms of 2 people?
Yes, and we also need to give it a time limit. And so I'd like to come back. We need to do the service and there's a little chanting we need to do. So let's do it, say 10 minutes before 10:50. So that'll give us a good 20 minutes.
So you want 20 minutes?
Yeah, that's probably a lot, but that's probably a lot. Oh well, we'll do it and see how that goes. And then we'll have 15 minutes.
I think I got it.
And is there a specific assignment?
Yes,
for
very important. Let me say that. Don't send them yet. Yes, there was. Okay, and maybe we can put this in the chat. I don't know. So it's just basically to talk with your partner about your practice and what brought you into practice, most importantly. I think most of us have an idea of what we might gain or what we're going to learn or how it's going to help us. So what did you come in wishing for or thinking that would happen? And then has that changed over time or not? And then if so, how? What has it changed to? And then we have one more question when we come back, and I'll try to remember that we're going to do that.
Laurie?
Yes?
I think 20 minutes is quite long because if there's 2 of us that we could each talk for 5 minutes and then have some back and forth for 5 minutes, that's quite a lot of time.
Yeah, I think maybe it is too. Okay, so let's do, let's 10 minutes.
15. This is 5,
15.
5, and 5.
Yeah, let's do that.
Oops.
Then we'll have 15 left. Yeah, 15 left.
Give me a second.
Timing is not my strength. Anything having to do with time.
Okay, ready?
Time. Yes, we're ready. Okay, well, we'll just go on. So the one question that I was wondering is how it went for you guys in the group, talking about that. And was there anything that you learned that about your partner that moved or inspired you? Yeah, Joan.
Well, it was a wonderful conversation, and we're going to continue it after because we didn't finish. Darcy's going to contact us again. But I found once again, one of the special things about being part of this Sangha is when we do these small things and we get to know each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what's special. I was in a Sangha, another place, and it was not like this.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised every time at how wonderful it is to just be close. And Zoom actually helps it. We're sitting opposite each other and really talking.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. I think so too. Thank you for that, Joan. I'm so glad. Anne.
Yeah, I was talking with Maria and I really resonated with so much of what she said. And then right near the end of our talk, she talked about having somewhat of a difficult relationship with her mother. And I was like, oh, you too. Oh gosh. Yeah, this is what I'm dealing with. And yeah, that just like Joan said, the connection is very warming.
Yes, yes, I'm glad. Ellen?
When my partner told me about the time when he realized he doesn't have to wait like to another life or something to be a bodhisattva, he can do it right now.
Nice. Yeah, that's really nice. Thank you.
I'd like to echo what Joan Mueller was saying. Colin and I were in our breakout room and really enjoyed meeting him and having the conversation. But right now in particular, especially with the way what happened this week politically, there's a lot of fear for myself, fear and anxiety associated with those things. And we tend to, at least I tend to withdraw some and kind of start drawing the distinction between they, them, them and us. And so it was really, really heartwarming and great to connect with Colin in particular, but of course with the entire Sangha to be able to feel to relieve the anxieties and the fears that we see in the political world today. So it was really great.
Yeah, thanks for saying that, Paul. Yeah, there've been a couple of times this week. Well, right after what happened, I think Joel did the Brahma Viharas, and there were a couple of things. I got together with a group of people, and it made so much difference to be able to connect with folks after such a shocking event. I think that's a really, really good point. Becky.
Yeah, I just want to say sort of what other people have been saying was that the opportunity to have the conversation that we were able to, I was with Connie, and we found so many places that resonated together in terms of a lot of what's important in our lives as well. And we would like to make sure that we can continue a conversation around some of that. But in general, I have found a richness in the kinds of Dharma type things. How do we live out teachings? What do we experience with it? I feel a richness in the fact of our being able to share that from each other's experience, not just from these particular teachings or those, but it's like each of us on the journey.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the strength of what that is when you feel that as such the whole Sangha, they're walking with each other in many ways.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's we're all walking each other home, they say, but walking together. I love that. That's great. Did I miss anybody? Yeah, Joan.
Well, I hear everyone talking about how wonderful the connection is. And Kim and I have been talking, and we're ready to bring it forth, and I will do it now. You know, you meet these people in Sunday, and you may want to contact them later, and we don't have emails or any way of doing that. And we are very careful with people's private information, and we do not have it. And so what Kim has devised is a way that we can contact each other through the website, and our emails will never show, but you're going to need to opt in on that. And so we'll send out an email, and you can go to the form, which would make your information available. If someone clicked on your name on a website, you could say you want to contact them, and no emails will ever be visible.
But you'll go directly to them.
Yes, or something. Kim knows it all. But anyway, we're working on that, and we will get that out this month, so that when we have these times, that if you're wanting to follow up later, you can. And so I wanted to make that known. And then I just wanted to say that I was with Claudine, and it was so inspirational. She was in the hospital around Christmas, and it was very difficult, and she was in a lot of pain, and she didn't want to take the painkillers, and she used her practice and was able to focus on herself rather than the pain. And she was real funny. She said, it doesn't work when she's sitting, but in real life, but when I've experienced that, you know, when I'm in really big trouble, my practice kicks in. But it was just amazing what she has done.
That's funny.
Thank you. Darcy?
I just got to say that this was a very, very powerful Dharma talk for me. And I really appreciate you speaking from the heart, you know, from your experience, and bringing forth this great resource. I've heard of his book, but I haven't looked at it. And just, you know, open your eyes and accept the you that is involved in the wrong ideas of practice. Accept the you that is thinking something without trying to be free of the energies of it. I mean, that's just so helpful. And anyway, I want to get this book, and then I want to listen to your Dharma talk again. Because the way you said it was a lot of it. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Darcy.
I wanted to say that that being with you this morning was the first time that I could not feel frustrated or sad. I just felt joy.
Oh, that's nice. I'm glad. That's really nice. Thank you, Maria. Okay.
I just wanted to say one thing about, I was with Nelda, and it didn't really, had not been paired up with her before. And I was impressed with a lot of things, but one thing, during a big transition in her life, she took this 1 month trip to Asia that kind of led her to thinking in terms of spirituality, and to a Catholic background like I do. And that slowly, as she continued in this big transition in her life, found Appamada. So, I mean, that to me, that was a fearless move on her part. I really was impressed, appreciated it.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Rosemary. Okay. All right. I guess we're done with that. So we need to do the finishing touches here and do the bow. So let me get moved over there, and we'll proceed. I'll do the service and then we'll do our chanting.